The blackness of space stretched endlessly, cold and silent. Near the edge of the solar system, a small monitoring station orbited Pluto, its sensors scanning the void for any unusual activity. Inside, Lieutenant Kyle Dawson sat at his console, rubbing his tired eyes. His shift had been quiet, just like every other night for months. Then, without warning, a sharp beep cut through the silence. His screen flickered to life, displaying a strange signal, repeating pulses of energy unlike any natural cosmic phenomenon. Dawson leaned forward, his fingers flying over the controls. "What the hell is this?" he muttered. The signal was weak but clear, a pattern that couldn't be random. It was a message. He called over his supervisor, Captain Elena Ruiz, who frowned at the data. "That's not human, and it's not any known alien dialect either." They ran it through the translation systems, but the computers struggled. The signal wasn't just noise. It was structured, urgent. After hours of work, they finally broke part of the code. It wasn't a greeting. It wasn't a threat. It was a distress call. The words appeared on the screen, translated roughly. "We are dying. Help us. They are coming." Ruiz immediately sent the findings to Earth. Within hours, alarms blared across military command centers. The United Earth Defense Council convened in emergency session. Admiral Laura Bennett, commander of the 7th Solar Fleet, studied the transmission with a grim expression. The signal came from a dying star system far beyond explored space. Whoever sent it was desperate. "This changes everything," Bennett said. "If there's a civilization out there under attack and they're asking for help, we can't ignore it." Some argued it could be a trap. Others feared provoking an unknown enemy. But Bennett stood firm. "Humanity didn't reach the stars by hiding," she said. "We answer the call." Orders were given. Ships were mobilized. The 7th Fleet, Earth's most powerful battle group, prepared for the longest jump in human history. Out in the dark, the signal kept repeating. Weaker now. Fading. Someone was running out of time. The command center on Earth buzzed with tension. Admiral Laura Bennett stood before the holographic display, watching as dots representing her fleet blinked into readiness. The 7th Solar Fleet, humanity's sharpest spear, was preparing for war. But against what? No one knew for sure. Captain Ryan Cole of the Eclipse paced the bridge of his ship, his jaw tight. His crew moved quickly, running final checks before the jump. "We're flying blind into this," he muttered to his first officer, Commander Lisa Monroe. She nodded, her fingers tapping at her console. "Doesn't matter," Monroe said. "If someone's out there begging for help, we're the only ones who can answer." Across the fleet, the same unease spread. Marines checked their gear. Engineers locked down reactor cores. Pilots ran simulations, though no simulation could prepare them for what might wait in that distant system. Back on Earth, politicians argued. Some demanded proof before risking the fleet. Others warned that hesitation could doom an entire species. In the end, Bennett's voice cut through the noise. "We go. Not because we know what's out there, but because if we don't, we'll never forgive ourselves." The order was given. Engines flared to life across the fleet. The Eclipse, the Ironclad, the Stormbringer, massive warships built for destruction, now carried the weight of humanity's conscience. Bennett's flagship, the Vigilant, led the formation. "All ships, prepare for warp," Bennett commanded. A deep hum vibrated through every vessel as their drives charged. Space twisted around them. Then, in an instant, the fleet vanished from Earth's orbit, hurling itself toward the unknown. Inside the Eclipse, Cole gripped his chair. Warp travel always felt like falling. Around him, screens flickered with distorted star trails. Somewhere ahead, a dying alien waited. And beyond that, something worse. Monroe exhaled slowly. Let's hope we're not too late. The ships raced on, silent, cutting through the dark. No turning back now.
The fleet dropped out of warp in a flash of blue light. Stars snapped back into place, sharp and cold. Ahead of them hung a dying sun, a swollen red giant, its dim glow barely lighting the dead planets around it. The system was a graveyard. Captain Cole leaned forward in his chair, eyes scanning the Eclipse's main screen. Anything alive out there? One signal, weak, coming from that wreck near the third planet. A twisted shape floated in the distance, an alien ship, its hull broken and dark. It didn't look like anything humans had built. The design was wrong, almost like it was grown instead of welded together. Admiral Bennett's voice crackled over the comm. "Send a team. I want answers before we go deeper." Sergeant Dan Powell checked his rifle one last time. Behind him, 6 Marines stood ready, their armored suits sealed tight. Science Officer Nina Patel adjusted her scanner, her hands steady despite the tension in the air. The shuttle docked with a thud. The alien ship's airlock hissed open, revealing a corridor lined with strange, fleshy walls that pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. The Marines swept forward, weapons up. Then they found it. In the center of a ruined chamber, a single alien lay slumped against a console. Its long limbs were thin, its skin shimmering like oil on water. It lifted its head as they entered, huge black eyes reflecting the Marines' helmet lights. Patel stepped forward, her translator humming. The alien made a sound, clicking, whispering. The translator spat out broken words. "You came, too late for us, but not for you." Powell tightened his grip on his rifle. What happened here? The alien's voice was fading. "They came, the Devourers. They take everything. Your world's next." Then it went still. On the Eclipse, Cole watched the feed from the Marines' cameras. His stomach turned cold. They weren't here to save anyone. They were here to learn how to survive.
The alien ship was silent now. Nina Patel ran her scanner over the dead creature one last time, recording everything. The Marines stood tense, weapons still raised, as if expecting the walls to attack them. Back on the Eclipse, Captain Cole listened to the report, his face grim. So this Devourer thing wiped them out? Patel's voice crackled over the comm. "Looks like it. From what I can piece together, there's some kind of swarm. No single mind, just hunger. And they're moving fast." Admiral Bennett's image appeared on the screen. "Did we get anything useful? Coordinates? Weaknesses?" Patel hesitated. "Maybe. The alien systems were damaged, but we recovered partial data. There's a path, a trail of consumed worlds. And if it's right..." She took a deep breath. "They're heading toward Haven 9. The bridge went still. Haven 9 was a thriving colony, 500,000 people. Families. Children. Cole turned to his navigation officer. "How long do we have?" "At their speed? 2 weeks, maybe less." Bennett's jaw tightened. "Then we don't have time to waste. All ships, prepare for immediate warp. We beat them there, or we lose everything." As the fleet powered up their engines, Sergeant Powell took one last look at the alien dead. Its warning echoed in his head. Your world's next.
He hoped to God they weren't already too late. The fleet tore through space, engines burning at maximum power. Every second counted. On the bridge of the Eclipse, Captain Cole watched the star lines streak past the view screen. His hands gripped the armrests of his chair. "We're pushing these ships past their limits," Monroe warned from her station. Cole didn't blink. "We don't have a choice." Meanwhile, on Haven 9, Governor Paul Reeves received the transmission. His face went pale as Admiral Bennett's message played. "Evacuate immediately. Enemy forces approaching. You have days, maybe hours." Panic spread through the colony. Families rushed to the spaceport, crowding onto every available ship. Reeves tried to keep order, but fear moved faster than reason. Back on the ironclad, engineers worked desperately to modify weapons. "Standard guns won't stop them," Chief Harris muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. "We need something bigger." A young lieutenant ran up, breathless. "Sir, the alien data. We missed something. Their swarm has a pattern. They move like locusts, but they always cluster around their queen." Harris's eyes lit up. "One weak point in the whole swarm? If we can hit it hard enough." The fleet's computers calculated trajectories, probabilities. The numbers weren't good. Even at full speed, they might arrive just as the Devourers did. On the Stormbringer, Marine units prepped for ground combat. Sergeant Powell checked his squad. "This won't be like any fight we've trained for. No rules, no mercy, just survival." The ships hurtled onward, carrying the last hope of Haven 9. Somewhere ahead in the dark, billions of ravenous creatures surged toward human space, and the clock kept ticking. The fleet dropped out of warp at the edge of the Haven 9 system. The sight that greeted them froze the blood in their veins. A dark cloud filled space between the planets. Not a cloud, but a swarm. Millions of creatures, each the size of a shuttlecraft, moving as one terrible organism. They were already descending toward the colony world. "All ships, battle formation," Admiral Bennett's voice rang out across the comms. The Eclipse and Ironclad moved to the front, their massive railguns spinning up. The first volley of shells tore into the swarm, blasting hundreds of creatures apart. But the holes filled instantly as more creatures surged forward. On Haven 9's surface, Governor Reeves watched the sky darken. "Why aren't the evacuation ships taking off?" he demanded. A technician turned, face white. "The swarm, they're blocking all escape routes." Back in space, Captain Cole saw the problem. The creatures were forming a living net around the planet, cutting off all exits. "We need to punch a hole," he ordered. The Stormbringer moved in close, its point defense guns creating a storm of fire. For a moment it worked. A narrow corridor opened through the swarm. A few colony ships darted through. Then the swarm adapted. The creatures changed formation, flowing around the Stormbringer like water. Alarms blared as dozens of them latched onto the ship's hull, tearing at the metal with clawed limbs. "Breaches on decks 4 through 7, someone shouted. Cole watched in horror as the Stormbringer began to come apart. Escape pods launched, but most were swallowed by the advancing swarm. Nina Patel suddenly appeared on Cole's screen, her face lit by emergency lights. "Captain, the data from the alien ship, we were wrong. They don't have a queen." "Then what's controlling them?" Patel's eyes were wide. "Nothing. They're not a swarm. They're a single organism." The realization hit Cole like a punch. They weren't fighting an army. They were fighting one gigantic, spaceborne predator. And it was winning. The Eclipse shook as another wave of creatures slammed into its hull. Warning lights flashed red across the bridge. Captain Cole gripped his chair, watching helplessly as the ironclad disappeared beneath a living tide of claws and teeth. "They're learning our tactics," Monroe shouted over the alarms. "Every time we hit them, they adapt faster." On the science deck, Nina Patel stared at her screens.
The swarm wasn't just attacking, it was evolving in real time. Then she saw it. "Captain, there's a pattern in their energy signatures. They're not completely unified." Cole turned. "Meaning?" "If we hit them with multiple different weapons at once, their system can't adapt to everything simultaneously." Admiral Bennett's face appeared on screen. Her ship, the Vigilant, was barely holding together. "We'll try it. All remaining ships, coordinated strike on my mark." The fleet regrouped. Railguns charged. Plasma cannons glowed. Missile bays opened. Fire. A storm of destruction ripped through the swarm. Explosions lit up the dark as the creatures writhed in confusion. For the first time, the swarm hesitated. "It's working!" someone yelled. But not enough. The swarm quickly recovered, closing the gaps in their formation. The Vigilant took a direct hit, its engines failing. Cole made a decision. "Monroe, overload the warp core." She stared at him. "That'll take the whole ship with it." "I know." He opened a channel to the remaining crew. "All hands, abandon ship. This is our only shot." As escape pods launched, Cole and a skeleton crew stayed behind. The Eclipse turned toward the heart of the swarm, its core burning unstable. "Now!" A flash of white light, then darkness. When the glare faded, the swarm was gone, torn apart by the blast. On Haven 9, people emerged from shelters staring at the clear sky. The fleet was destroyed, but they were alive. Somewhere in the silence of space, debris floated where heroes had made their last stand. The war was over. For now.